suspicion is growing that the plane was kind of hit in a mistaken example of friendly fire, and then actually redirected over the Caspian in the hopes that it would crash land in the sea and destroy all evidence.
Now, evidence is growing that Russia's air defences shot down a passenger plane in Kazakhstan, which killed 38 people. Meanwhile, Finland is investigating a Russian ship for an alleged sabotage of an undersea power cable. Gabriel Gavin is a journalist for Politico and the author of a new book out in January about Russia and the South Caucasus. Good morning, Gabriel.
Good morning.
Let's start with the downing of this passenger jet. What do we know so far?
Yeah, so this Azerbaijan Airways Azal plane was flying between the Azerbaijani capital Baku and Chechnya's regional capital inside southern Russia, in the North Caucasus. And at some point during that journey, we understand that it ran into serious difficulties. People from on board the plane have posted footage of them reacting to what was said to be a loud bang. There are pictures of damage and debris in the compartment. The plane was then seemingly denied all opportunities to land either at Grozny, where it was supposed to end up, or in nearby Russian airports like Nalchik, Makhachkala, and instead was diverted by aircraft controllers across the Caspian Sea to the Kazakh city of Aktau, which is actually very far away from both where it had originated and where it was supposed to land. So suspicions are growing that actually what happened was the plane was hit by an anti-air missile. At the same time as the plane was flying, several Russian cities in the area had reported Ukrainian drone sightings and were scrambling to respond to that so that they can continue to protect their kind of, energy infrastructure, so particularly the oil and gas refineries that are used to kind of fund the Kremlin's war on Ukraine, their military complexes, etc., which Ukraine has been astonishingly successful in targeting. And the suspicion is growing that the plane was kind of hit in a mistaken example of friendly fire, and then actually redirected over the Caspian in the hopes that it would crash land in the sea and destroy all evidence. The US has called for an investigation and said it suspects that that's the version of events that happened. A top Ukrainian official has said they believe the plane was hit by a Russian anti-aircraft system by mistake. And now Azerbaijan, which is traditionally in recent years a close ally of Russia, has said that, several sources have said, pro-government MPs, not that there are any anti-government MPs in Azerbaijan, but pro-government MPs have said, we suspect that this is the case. We want an apology from Russia.
Yeah, and the former head of the French Air Accident Investigation Agency is quoted in the Times today saying that the wreckage appears to be reminiscent of the Malaysia Airlines flight MH17, which of course was shot down over Ukraine in 2014. Meanwhile, Gabriel, we've also got this undersea power cable which has been severed in the Baltic Sea. Talk us through exactly what's happened in this case.
Yeah, well, so the S-Link 2 undersea high voltage cable runs across a body of water that's immensely busy, linking Finland and Estonia. And what we've seen over the course of the last few months is that these undersea power cables and communications lines have been targeted in a kind of series of hybrid attacks designed to disrupt Europe's energy and information infrastructure. And we saw just on Wednesday, that S-Link 2 power cable, as well as 3 kind of communications cables, were severed in an apparent act where a vessel has dragged its anchor along the bottom of the sea, destroying anything that's there. Now, the Finnish authorities immediately boarded and inspected a fuel tanker, an oil vessel called Eagle S, which is flying under the Cook Islands flag, but alleged to be part of Russia's shadow fleet of aging international tankers that it uses to circumvent sanctions and sell its fuel and continue to power its war in Ukraine. The Finnish authorities and indeed the European Commission, as of last night, suspect that this was a deliberate attack. And they believe that what happened was a ship with close links to Moscow made a decision to try and destroy this infrastructure. So I think there's an increasing concern that actually Europe is under attack in a whole range of very kind of low-tech ways, but ways that are very difficult to defend against. And, I think more and more people just expect things to work. They expect power to be able to come on when you flick the switch. They expect their internet to work and work fast. And I think when you actually see people targeting the architecture of what makes that possible, it becomes really very difficult.
And then one other thing we should mention, Ukrainian forces have captured an injured North Korean soldier who was fighting for Russia. This is according to South Korea's spy agency. How significant a moment is this, Gabriel? Because we've known for some months now that North Korean troops are fighting on behalf of Russia, particularly in the Kursk region, but there hasn't been any official confirmation. I suppose this now is conclusive proof.
Well, I think that it's been clear for a long time that the North Koreans have contributed troops to Russia's war effort, and at the same time, we have on reasonably good intelligence that the North Koreans have been providing weapons, ammunition on a large scale to Russia, because Russia is increasingly desperate to be able to get their hands on the hardware they need to continue their catastrophic war. I think the capture of an individual North Korean probably is of limited value for intelligence, but I think it just continues to build this picture that actually Ukraine is not fighting solely Russia. Ukraine is fighting a coalition of led by Moscow that includes North Korea, includes Iran, includes states that are happy to contribute to that war effort because they don't feel there are any consequences. You know, North Korea and Iran are massively sanctioned